Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. We are in for the Belgian Grand Prix because my Silverstone and Hungary footage decided to yeet itself out the fucking window. Qualifying went on the go in Belgium, and we were actually flying on this lap, so we came home to bring it into P6. It was lights out for everyone in the Belgium sprint, and everyone survived. I took the fastest lap, and it was time to hunt down Sainz. We overtake him on the straight, and that's us into P1. We had a very close tussle with Sainz on the last lap, but we emerged victorious and came home to take the win of the sprint. You joined me for the race 5 laps in because literally nothing had happened for the whole race. It was literally just like my race in Monaco, just driving and driving and driving. We did need to pit though, so I did so with no problems. Leclerc did manage to undercut me though, so while I go chase him, I'm going to explain what happened. You will have noticed that I'm in an Aston Martin instead of a Haas. What had happened was that during the contract offers after Silverstone, which I DNF'd, which I don't have footage of because it fucking did a Houdini, Kevin also decided to crash into my rears that race, and it was a double DNF for both of us, wasting valuable points. So I decided to leave that team behind and start anew at Aston Martin. We set the new fastest lap of the session, and it became the final lap to confirm our win at the new Aston Martin team. Of course, I had to hit my signature move, and on we went to the Zandvoort race weekend. Away we went in quali, and we qualified in P4. Not bad. It was 5 red lights in Zandvoort, and I think someone towards the back of the grid died, but I'm not sure who. Came to lap 3, and I was pretty much just chasing Leclerc the whole way through, and I kid you not, this was some of the fastest and cleanest driving I've ever had behind a car. We were approaching the main straight, and I knew I wasn't going to hold the lead because Leclerc had DRS. We take our position back though on the same straight. He then tried to go around the outside on the sector 3, but I let him go past so I can get DRS and overtake him again. Leclerc had DRS again, but was nowhere near close enough to make a pass. We were starting to pull quite far ahead of Charles now, and I guess someone committed vehicular suicide because the safety car was brought out. So I decided that this was the best lap to pit on softs, and after a boring ass torture session of staying behind the safety car, it was finally coming in. The flags finally turned green again, and it was time to resume the race as normal. We set a new fastest lap because we're just built different. Overall, the race was going good, and I'd said that this was one of our best races yet. Very fast and very clean. We came home to win the race, and of course, driver of the day was Monza came around, and one-shot quali was on the go. Not sure about the car in this one, because the front felt very stiff yet unpredictable. Nevertheless, we brought it into P5. It was 5 red lights for Monza, and away we went. Not sure what the hell Leclerc did to Carlos, but he ends up pitting on lap 1. Round the outside gets me into P3. We tried to take Verstappen and Perez on the straight, and we did indeed take both of them. Perez comes flying down the straight again though to retake P1 as he decided that's not the end of it all, but we squeezed past him in the chicane. He comes flying past again, and actually manages this time to get his Mexican ass in front of me. He flies past us again, and we overtake him again. We head to pit, and there were no problems encountered with that. Lewis Hamilton bags a DNF, and overall our race looks set for P1. We just had a slight technical difficulty with the car, but we come home in the Monza Grand Prix to take P1 again. Our former teammate Kevin Magnussen took driver of the day, fair play to him. Apparently Alonso's going to retire in the near future. And we move on to the Pirelli hot lap of the Singapore Grand Prix, because I pressed the wrong button because I'm a dumbass. It was 5 lights for the Pirelli hot lap, and away I went doing the same coned gate shit. To which I brought home and got a bronze medal because these cars are shit. Onto the qualifying of the actual Singapore Grand Prix. The car felt somewhat okay, just a tad unstable at the rear, and we brought it into P8. It was lights out and away we go for a full wet Singapore Grand Prix, and Verstappen and Russell fighting gave me a nice opportunity to go up the inside and put me into P3. Behind Norris and coincidentally Carlos Sainz in P1 had an engine failure, so that puts Norris in P1 and has me and him battling for it. These horrible conditions required extreme short shifting and micro corrections in order to stay somewhat stable on the track. We head side by side with Norris and pull into P1, and a nice little drift to assert dominance goes a long way. According to my engineer, wets and intermediates had similar pace, but there was still a lot of standing water on the track, so I decided to stick with the wets. I had a slight little incident with my rear brakes, but we were okay, and I drifted across the finish line to take another win. This result leaves us 4th in the drivers and 5th in the constructors. Next race up was Japan, and we hopped into qualifying. On went qualifying, and we were absolutely sending it. The car felt very agile and predictable and connected to the ground, perfect for us. 5 red lights here in Japan, and away everyone flew. To be honest, the pace was relatively equal between all the cars, but my main concern here was tyre wear. We were getting really up close behind Carlos, so I thought of making a move around the outside, but he blocked that off, so it was back to chasing him for another lap. We fly past him down 130R, and it became time to chase down Leclerc. We fly at Leclerc down the straight, and that moves us onto P1. It became time to box, and I did so with perfect entry speed and no issues. Now that we had more grip, we just need to make sure that we retain a strong pace in order to get P1 back when everyone else pits. We did a quick overtake here and a quick overtake there, and I was supposed to be in P1, but Guan Yu Zhou decided to stay out with a technical issue, so he was just slowing me down. I swear to God, he was sent by Ferrari to hold me back and sabotage me. A slight problem now, we had to lift and coast because apparently I underfueled the car before the race, so I wasn't quite sure how well I'd be able to hold Leclerc back. On lap 10, Leclerc had gotten really close behind us. Then on lap 11, I realised that it was Lewis Hamilton behind us instead of Leclerc. He was nowhere to be seen, so I can only imagine he committed vehicular suicide. I took a gamble and decided I'd stop the lift and coasting for this last lap and push all the way through. Hopefully we go through with enough fuel. To which luckily we did, and we came home to take another win. We are now second in the driver standings, not far behind Max. It became time for the Qatar Grand Prix, not one of my strongest tracks, but luckily not one of the AI strongest tracks either. Qualifying went ahead, and by some miracle, we managed to take it into pole position.
Need a good result today if we want to catch Verstappen in the Drivers' Championship.
Well, you heard Mark, let's go get a good result. It was 5 red lights and away we go for the race in Qatar, and the start turned out okay. Again, a pretty uneventful race, and was basically just a free P1 for us. Approaching the checkered flag, and my driver decided to start celebrating a bit early, don't know why, but we brought home a win. It was 5 red lights for the real race in Qatar, and yet again, it was another uneventful race. Up until lap 6, where Leclerc decided he wanted to overtake me on the straight like a little cunt. The tyres were falling off hard and quick, so I needed to pit, and I did that with a huge problem as my totally competent team decided that they couldn't attach my rear right tyre properly, which ended up with me falling behind Hamilton. So now the hunt for him was on, which was actually quite easy considering he was on hards. We overtake him on the final turn, and now the hunt for Leclerc was back on. We send it past him on the straight to secure P1 and a fastest lap. To entertain myself in this boring last few laps, I'll switch to cockpit view to, you know, kind of keep things interesting, I guess. Second to last lap, I noticed that, oh shit, I was running out of fuel. But I decided to push anyway and just hope for the best. That worked out fine, and I secure another win.
The top of the standings look a little different after today's result. We have a new championship leader.
You heard Crofty right, I am the new championship leader, 1 point ahead of Max. Stay tuned for the next one to find out if I can keep this championship lead on the Texas Grand Prix and upcoming.